In the Caylee Anthony murder case, thousands of pages of really startling new evidence made public today in the case against Caylee's mother, Casey Anthony. But could the defense already be fighting back? This video posted on YouTube and apparently just located by the Orlando Sentinel shows a very caring mother, Casey, playing and laughing with her daughter, Caylee. Take a look at this extraordinary video just being played now for the first time. It appeared on YouTube somehow, and we're going to try to get to the bottom of that. Could this be a strategic move to win the PR war against the state by the defense? One of the most alarming finds among the pages of the prosecution's evidence released today, images posted to Casey's photo bucket account, including, take a look at that, numerous morbid images of skulls, along with a rather sinister image of skeletons kissing. That's right, I said skeletons kissing. We're going to show you that in a second. Possibly posted by Casey just days after little Caylee disappeared. It all raises the question, was death on Casey's mind? Also in the files, transcripts that reveal much more inside information on Casey's parents, Cindy and George. Private Eye Jim Hoover, taped by the cops claiming George and Cindy said they weren't sure if they'd be together when this was all over because each thought the other threw their daughter Casey under the bus. I will show you what I think they're talking about, and that's not all. We've got more. Private Eye Jim Hoover also claimed that he was told Casey and her attorney, Jose Baez, ate from the same strand of licorice on opposite sides of the jailhouse glass, and that they got so close it looked like they might have been kissing. Is there any truth to this story? Or is this just Hoover talking trash? I think the latter. Baez responded to the avalanche of new evidence, saying he'll reserve comment until the discovery of some importance to the real evidence in this case. Doesn't he have a point? Isn't Baez a victim of unsubstantiated gossip at this point with a story like that? So much to talk about tonight. I'm taking your calls, but first, straight to my panel. Rachel Kugel, criminal defense attorney. Stacey Honowitz, Florida prosecutor, plus Rebecca Rose Woodland, criminal defense attorney, as well as, and boy do we nut one tonight, psychiatrist Dr. Gabby Cora. And we're also going to get to Bob Keeling, who is a reporter with CNN affiliate WESH. Bob, so glad you're joining us tonight. What can you tell us about the slew of new documents and Casey apparently telling the cops that they couldn't trick a confession out of her? This is something also pouring in along with all this new documentation.
Yeah, Jane, that's some pretty interesting stuff, and that actually came from October the 14th. You might remember that was the day that a grand jury indicted her for first-degree murder. She goes on basically a wild ride through the streets of Orlando. At one point, an unmarked sheriff's detective car getting run off the road. Casey and her attorney, Jose Baez, giving the explanation. They didn't realize it was law enforcement. They thought it was the media. When the cops finally got her stopped, she was very cool, very calm, expecting the indictment. And yes, she had an exchange with an Orange County detective where she told him that she said, I had an interest in helping law enforcement from the very beginning. Unfortunately, my hands were literally tied and I was put in a position where someone was trying to trick a confession out of me. And she told that detective, that's not going to happen, Jane.
So the significance of that, Stacey Honowitz, as you hear that, is that essentially they said, hey, do you want to help out law enforcement? And she's like, you're not going to trick a confession out of me.
Right. I mean, you know, she said that she wanted to be cooperative. And we all saw in the beginning that she kept saying the only way she could cooperate if she was actually on the outside trying to help them, that she said her hands were tied. We certainly know that's not the case because certainly even from the inside, she could have done everything in her power if, in fact, she knew what was going on with her child, but now we know what the story was. And so anytime that she says, just in this exchange, that they're not going to trick a confession out of me is really code for I'm not helping you and I'm not going to say a word.
I think that's a very good analysis.
If you think you have something on me, get me.
Yeah, that's an excellent analysis. That's exactly what I took away from it. We've got to take a look at this video. This video is extraordinary. It's just in. Look at this precious child, Caylee, who now sadly is deceased, playing with her mom. Her mom looks incredibly affectionate there, hugging and kissing and playing. This just appeared on YouTube, Rebecca Rose Woodland. We don't know exactly how it got there. The Orlando Sentinel said it just appeared, and we were looking at the Orlando Sentinel, and we went to it, and there it is, and it is there for everyone to see. It's tragic, it's heart-wrenching, because we look at it knowing that this poor little girl is dead, and she was found with duct tape over her mouth. So it breaks my heart. I'm sure it breaks the heart of everybody who's looking at it. But what do you make of it? Who is the likely source of this material?
Well, you know, Jane, you did say in your introduction, and I have to agree, it does seem awfully coincidental that it came in on the day that such poor information for the defense came out. You know, there's a possibility that it's just someone interested in the case, someone who happens to have, but who would have the video, Jane? I understand what you're saying. Who would have this precious video that they would release it? And you can understand if the defense did want this on YouTube, their defense has always been, she does not know what happened. She left the child with someone, and then the child disappeared. Now, we know now that that story seems very inconceivable, but in this country, innocent until proven guilty, and the defense, of course, wants to paint her as a loving mother, a caring mother, because what loving, caring mother there you would never think would then do what the prosecution is alleging that she has done.
All right, Dr. Gabby Cora, you're a psychiatrist. As you see this video of this happy, happy child and this joyous mother playing together, I mean, this is idyllic video. How can you reconcile that with what the prosecution alleges this mother did to her child? Remember, they're alleging that she murdered this child.
There's no way that we can align, you know, the ideal of having a loving mom playing with her little one and compare that to what the prosecution is saying that she did. There's no way of putting those together. Now, loving moms may have, you know, sad days or difficult times with their kids as well. But in a way, you know, the fact that someone may discipline their kids or may be upset with them doesn't mean that they're not loving on the other end also. So these are two separate things, and it's important to see that this really shows a very loving mom with her little one.
Now, Rachel Kugel, why was this video held so long? I mean, there's been many days where horrible, very incriminating, very damaging information has been released about Casey Anthony. Why now? Is it that the case is getting to a crucial turning point?
Well, I think that it should have been released a long time ago, and the defense should have been doing this sort of thing, because there's no question that they have been losing the battle in the publicity war here. And that is ultimately what this case turns on at this point. And frankly, what's going to lose the case for the defense is all this public perception, because as long as the jury pool is tainted with people that believe that she isn't a loving mom or isn't capable of that, then their defense options are limited, and they're in real trouble.
Yeah, this is an all-out war, I think. Both sides fully engaged. You have this damaging information released today, and then you have this really idyllic footage that appears to have just been released showing mother and child at play. Extraordinary.